back. Here with Vanderbilt women's basketball players Iyanna Moore and Jane Nwaba and head coach Shea Ralph. We will open up the floor for questions first. So if you have a question for Iyanna or Juice, please raise your hand. We'll start with Iyanna Moore, Fandy 24/7. Go ahead.
Jane, a couple of three-pointers tonight just seemed like your offense was really clicking. What did you see from Arkansas defensively that just allowed you to be that productive?
Yeah, I mean, I figured teams would start sagging off on me, especially because I've been missing a couple of shots. So I just felt really confident today to start pulling it more.
Aria?
Yeah, Iyanna, what was the key to your team-wide offensive success tonight?
I mean, I feel like we work on it every day in practice. Keep the ball moving, don't let it stick too long, pass and cut, and when the shot's wide open, you got to take it. You got to be confident enough to take it, and then everyone else believes that it's not going to go in, so you go crash, but you're the shooter, so you believe it's going to go in.
Obviously, you've been part of this program for a while, and after a big win on Sunday like Tennessee, how do you just make sure your teammates, and especially, being a veteran, just kind of don't focus so much on a big win and kind of move forward to the next game?
I mean, it's a long season. Of course, that win was amazing, but it's a long season. We got a lot of games to be played, and every game that comes up on our schedule is the most important. So just keeping everyone level-headed and just knowing that's not the end goal. The end goal is not to just win that one game, that one big game here. We got a lot of games to win.
Any more questions for the players?
Love you too.
Victory.
Good job.
Thank you.
Wait till the players leave the room and then we will open up the floor for quick round. Coach Ralph, just what are your opening thoughts after today's 101-60 win over Arkansas?
I want to first just give credit where it's due. I felt like our team responded really well. After a highly emotional game at home, there's a bunch of different ways that you can respond. They've been locked in practice, and I think the momentum has been able to be harnessed in a positive way. I also thought today we had a ton of contributions from many different players. I mean, you talk about Juice and Iyanna, Michaela Blake, showed up again and had a great game. Camille, J.O., all the way on down. Maddie, Leilani does what Leilani does. So I felt like today there was no dip in the effort or energy or attention to detail when I was pulling people in and out of the game. And that's important as we move forward. As you guys know, they just said it. It's a long season. There could be all kinds of things that pop up for us, and knowing, what you have and what you can depend on from each kid on our team is really important. I thought today they showed up. That was a great team win. Really proud of the effort that they had.
Okay, we're going to open up the floor for questions. We'll start with Aria Gearson, Tennessee. Go ahead.
Yeah, Shea, Izzy Higginbottom is the SEC's leading scorer, and you held her to 7 points and 8 turnovers. So how did you approach her defensively, and how was that so successful?
We felt like the goal today for our defense was to keep the ball out of her hands as much as we could. We did also switch quite a bit on her, so she wasn't able to. There were times where she made some tough shots, but the goal was not for her to feel like she was under duress the entire game. And then try to see what plays the other kids on her team could make. But we weren't going to trap her a ton except in the full court. I thought over half court, if we just switched on everyone and kept her under duress and in front of us with a hand up, that it could be a good effort for us defensively. And turns out that our kids locked in and we were able to do that for longer stretches. We always, I feel like, have a good defensive plan. It's our consistency and our attention to detail that kind of does this throughout the course of the game is where we get ourselves in trouble. I felt like today the effort from start to finish, except for a little part of the third quarter, was great on defense, and it resulted in us being able to do exactly what we talked about in game planning.
Grace, go ahead.
Coach, you had 5 players with over 10 points today. How encouraging is that for you at this point in the SEC play, especially when you've kind of had some games where you've only gotten production out of really Camille and Michaela?
Yeah, it's important, right? It's important that not only that we do it, but our players believe in themselves enough to do it. And now they know that they can do it, and so that's the expectation. So it's not, well, we can sag off this kid, we can sag off that kid, we don't want to play that kid. We're just going to key in on 2 of their players and be able to shut down their team. That can't be who we are. So that is why we spend so much time on it in practice, where I'm not keying in on one or two players, like let's move the ball, let's pass, cut, screen, let's see if we can get an open shot. And then if it's one that you can make in practice, then that's when you have to take and make in a game, right? So that is what we work on, because down the stretch, teams that do that, everyone's going to be able to game plan and scout, take away plays, do all those things. But if we can continue to build confidence in our ability to spread out our offensive production and then have our great players do what our great players do, then we're going to be a lot tougher to defend down the stretch.
Iyanna Moore, go ahead.
You mentioned the little dip in that third quarter where it felt like you all slowed down just a little bit. Was there, what kind of like defense do you feel like changed? I mean, was it what defense you guys were running, or what was the?
We didn't change anything. I think it's probably one of the things that we talk about the most, just kind of locking in and making sure that we have the right kind of energy. And it's not one or two kids, it's everybody, right? It's our bench, it's the kids on the court, not getting complacent. And again, I don't want that to sound malicious. I'm not trying to I'm just saying we have to make sure that we stay focused in on being able to do that possession by possession by possession. And so then our energy has to be like very team first, like very competitive, very positive, and it can't dip ever. No matter if we're in a close game with a ranked team or if we're up by 30, in an SEC game at home or on the road. That is what championship teams do, competitive teams do. You just have to lock in that way from start to finish. It's also not easy to do that. So I feel like we are getting much better. I want to say that too. We've had bigger, larger gaps that have really hurt us this year. But today we had just that small one in the third quarter. So that is an improvement. But my players know I'm a bit of like a perfectionist in that way. I want them to get it right because there's no reason that we can't. You're not going to make every shot, but you can do that every possession.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, what was the issue that led Michaela Blakes to be on the injury report today, and how good was it to see her have the performance that she had, even if she was maybe a little banged up?
Yeah, she just turned her ankle in practice. So if it weren't for that report, you guys would have had no idea. But we try to be honest. And so she wasn't going to not play, but she did just turn her ankle in practice. And she obviously was fine today.
How valuable are those minutes at the end of the game where you can get some of your players in to get that experience that they might not normally have during a closer game?
Yeah, it's important. Number one, it's the right thing to do, right? You're up by that much. It's the right thing to do to give the players that work just as hard as the kids on the court. And their role looks a little differently, but they're also an important piece of what we're doing day in and day out. So to be able to do that in an SEC game, I thought was really cool for them. And to give the starters and the players that do play a lot of minutes the opportunity to cheer for them and encourage them from the bench, I thought was also a really cool moment for us to be able to have in an SEC game. And like you said, those chances are few and far between. So whenever you have the opportunity and your players do what our starters and high-minute kids did today, then that is a really cool opportunity that they created for their teammates to be able to play in an SEC game.
All right, final question, Aria.
Yeah, Shea, what does it mean to you and your program to be able to hold a Pride Night?
I think the important thing for us is, and it says it on our shirts, all are welcome here. And as human beings, I think we can all have our different views and different philosophies and different political thoughts, and that's all well and good, but we're all still human beings. And to me, it's the same heart everywhere. So if you can respect that about another person, we're not going to agree on anything or everything. Maybe we won't agree on anything, but I can respect you as another human being that's trying to do your best on this earth. That you have what you have, you love what you love. To me, that's what that means. Whether it's Pride Night or Black History or on down the line, the things that we honor here, it's just the same heart everywhere. And I think we'd be a lot better in this world if we could just respect that we are each and every one of us trying to do our very best. And if we can welcome each other with open arms, and it'd be a better place for us all to live in.
Well said, Coach. Congratulations on the victory, and we'll talk to you after the Alabama game.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.